Is Are we on air? Yes, we are on air. Today is the 17th of January, 2022. It is now 6:30 Beijing time, 9:30 Sydney time. We are back again with our co-host, Double O Seven, and Jessie, our special guest. My hand direction is in the opposite side. Say hi. Let's see whether we can hear each other.
Hello.
Can we hear
Hi.
each other? Yes, I can hear you.
Hey everyone,
Jessie.
good to
Hi.
be on.
That's
Good
good.
to be with
We
you
are all
guys
on
again.
air.
Thank you for having me.
Yep.
Mm.
Today we are having another episode on Australian business news. Today's topic is regarding Miles Gold's win in the court. So, question is being tough a prerequisite of a successful business? We know that Miles Gold has had many lawsuits, and I think he say 60 plus 70 lawsuits. 007. I think that's what he said. He
70
has
plus, 70 plus to
yes,
80 lawsuits. Mm.
yeah, that many lawsuits. So I'm sure if any of us faced with that many lawsuits, I think we'll be exhausted. Even one actually is enough to put us off. When I was an employee, whenever we have a dispute with the employer, my former boss told me, the best is just to settle because it is just too distressing having a dispute with your employer. So that was the advice. So can you imagine Malsko having that many lawsuits? It is very exhausting having that many lawsuits. But the latest win is regarding PAX, or called Pacific Alliance Asia Opportunity Fund, blah blah blah. So, and this is also the first time I realized that Malsko actually has many names. Do you know that, Jesse? Do you know that Malsko has many names?
No, yeah, that's a Hong Konger's name. Very well done.
Is that
And
right?
yeah, 'cause he got
Cool.
more than two citizenship. So he got it in Abu Dhabi and other countries. That's why. Passport.
Mm, okay, that's interesting. So, we are going to talk a little bit about just a little bit. I will say a brief description of the PAX case. To me, the facts are very simple. So I actually um, cannot see why Edward Moss made the mistake that he did, but he did do so. There must be some further story behind him moving firms. But if we will go on to the next slide, just want to briefly give you a taste of what the issues are. Next slide, please. So you can see this two triangles here. You have the Edward Moss change firm. He changed from the old firm, O. Melveni and Myers law firm. He changed it to Cahill law firm. While the PAX litigation was underway, so he thought that he brought the file to Cahill law firm, and that was exactly the contention. Can he bring confidential information from one law firm and transfer to the next one, with the new firm continuing suing Mount Squaw, representing PAX to sue Mount Squaw for a different case, because that one is PAX. One is with PAX against Mount Squaw, PAX against Spirit Chamber Investment Limited. So there are several interlinked cases going on. The issue is Edward Moss changing firm, and then the second issue is actually in respect of Mount Score Company, Geneva Holding LLC, whether Geneva Holding LLC's assets is the subject of dispute. So if we go on to the next page, next page, blank. Oh, something went wrong. Oops, that's the old file. No. Uh, yeah, just this one here. Yes, that's right. The court decision. So, can Edward Moss disclose information obtained from the previous firm with the new firm? The answer is no, because there is a confidentiality. Um, you the this is I thought this is just so fundamental. The new firm, who is on the same side, representing the plaintiff, obviously cannot benefit from information which was disclosed to another lawyer, which was from a different firm. This I thought this is so fundamental. I just cannot understand why they made such a mistake. So they did, and this was the reason why Edward Moss was removed as the plaintiff's lawyer. Second issue, Hua. Next page. Second issue was regarding the company of which Mount Square was the sole director. So already the court has held in 2018 that Malscore could not be proven to have intended to defraud debtors. So the lender could not prove that Malscore had the intention to defraud. So it then go on to say that, and also Pax has not joined Geneva as a defendant. I think these lawyers representing Pax must be very lousy lawyers to make such fundamental um, mistakes. Maybe they just, because they're trying so hard to put a case together, they forget some of the very important thing, like joining defendants and all this. So because Geneva is not joined as a defendant, of course the assets of Geneva cannot be on the table as being disputed assets, even though Malscore is the only sole director. So now the question that I want to open up to 007 as Jesse, as both persons who have been involved heavily in business under various roles. Um, First, starting with 007, in your in your experience as somebody who has advised big corporations before, and you have seen how big companies behave. Do you, in the past, have you ever seen a company always just negotiating for settlement, or have you seen the companies that you dealt with taking a firm stand um, against uh, plaintiffs, whoever who take them to court? Do they usually vigorously defend their position, or do they just fold and just settle? What is the behaviors they have seen in the past?
Uh, Thank you, Bindi. So this case, I think, if you look at the picture on the overview, what you see is, according to Miles score, previously Miles score have already discussed who is the PAX, Pacific Alliance Asian Opportunity Fund, okay, and who are the directors. You remember? Don't forget, this company, it's owned or directed by the CCP's biggest agent in United
Mm-hmm,
States. His name is Sang
mm-hmm,
Weijian. Tang
mm,
Weijian is the chairman of European Students Unions Beijing chapters director. That's a very influential organization. And basically, he's come from a background of foreign ministry department of Beijing, okay, of the Chinese CCP's government. His mission is actually to obviously, spy and agencies for economical and political, okay, gains. Given that background, given in the previous court cases, since several years back, I think in 2017, Miles Gore in the same court with the same judge, he always lost. Okay, so several, I think, court argument and appearances, and now this is God-given opportunity that, as you said, as you point out, the first Candace, Candy lawyer Edward Moss, when they changed the firm to Cole Hill Law Firm, uh, can he bring any confidential information? I mean, that's a standard conflict of interest. Why they haven't dared to even obey that? I don't think they made any mistake, or otherwise they can't be that professional. Famous law firms, they must be so what so out of their
Desperate.
mind to believe that the judge will be still on the same side. But this is very political sensitive. When China CCP is in the upper hand, when the Lanjing Huang blue, gold and yellow, every law firm. So remember, those firms are also linked in China, and in the finance street in Beijing, northeast China section where the embassy was, and Moscow had the building there, and these lawyers are all in the all different levels, but they always represent sometimes both parties. So in China, in Beijing, that's how they do businesses. I mean, 他们吃了原告又是被告, so they whatever. I mean, they get money from both sides. So the conflict of
It's
interest
so
standard that never
crazy,
been
crazy.
obeyed. Yeah, it's a crazy practice. Same in Shanghai as well. So the same firm allowed the practice in Beijing and Shanghai are heavily been also controlled, by CCP, or maybe the hidden shareholders of CCP themselves through different, CCP control the business entities or investment entities. So given that background, the judge, been pointed out in America, in New York, and he about the case uh, previously, according to Moscow, they never worked on the middle or to really make a judgment about the reality or the facts, whatever, and come out. They always made in favor of Pacific Alliance Asian Opportunity Fund. Okay, so that's why the court case dragged until that long. But now they have made a mistake which cannot be disputed. It's standard of conflict of interest, which everyone knows in business. And but do you know that before, when the pandemic comes, both in Australia, United States, and other so-called freedom, democratic countries in the West, I mean, to mandate a vaccination which FDA hadn't been even approved, okay, but the administration, like Biden administration, issue, and through different agencies and even business entities, they start the mandate, the vaccination. This is a whole violation of fundamental rules or laws we've been practicing in the West. So I think this actually represents the change of wind, the political wind, because now there's so many side effects, and the vaccination doesn't work. The promise is a fake. It's all false information. So on. I think the judge now will probably get a shock and wake up. Hang on, we cannot do that anymore. Otherwise, himself will be thrown out of the judiciary system as a judge. I think the
Mm.
judge start to feel waking up. He's probably one less BG wide, so he doesn't get much money. He say, "Who get hell? I don't give a f about it. I'm gonna stand in middle this time." This is why Mouse go win, and this is so significant. So because I
Okay.
think, yeah, that's what I think. Back to you,
Yes.
Angie.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Because for me, as a lawyer looking at this case, I just thought this the facts are so simple. Why is it that it is so significant? So now you have explained the reason behind it is change of wind as is already ongoing in America. There's the judges are finally waking up. They don't dare to now rule willy dilly. In any manner they've been paid to rule, and hence they are so justice is being done here. Jesse, do you have also been in the scene of venture capitalists and all this sort of thing? I just want to take your pick your brains as to how you look at this case and how you have seen things done typically in China.
Oh yeah. So So maybe I'll start with Mr. Edward Morse. Actually, imagine you are Edward now. I think your
Mm,
career is about kaput, as good as zero. And I think this is really, this is all really fortuitous that, this happened. And he's like a used tissue, isn't he? That, this is fundamental mistakes, and we cannot fathom how this could happen, but it happened, and he's like a used tissue now, being used and then discarded, and it serves as a warning to a lot of the other lawyers out there or the other firms that's dealing with CCP, that hey, you know what, this is how they use you, and once you are used by date is gone, they go thank you very much and bye bye. And I remember,
mm,
when I was starting out in the corporate world, there was this my ex boss, he's a really nice man, and because it was a startup company, and there was a case brought by a Goliath, one of the top big mega conglomerates, and they brought a lawsuit against him or the startup, and they dragged him through for months, trying to extract the maximum then mental toy, and hopefully he will collapse, but he didn't. On the judgment day, he actually told his wife, and he told me that he pulled me aside. He said, I'm going to tell you what I did today. He said, I went for a picnic, with my wife and my kid. And what happened on court, that in court that day, was the big boy, the Goliath, actually withdrew the case just to
mm,
drag you through, smear your name, hopefully, and then maybe you will fall, and then kowtow to them. But he didn't.
mm,
And that taught me a big lessons. If you are right and you have done things professionally, you got nothing to fear, isn't it? But
mm,
like what 007 says, in China it's a bit different.
mm,
you know who writes the law, because it's all contradictory. It's like triangulations in contract. They don't get you here, they can get you somewhere else, or trump up charges actually. So
mm,
that's why in China, it's like, really the adage is, who is your partner, who is your Chinese partner, that is most important. And
mm,
that's my 2 cents worth actually.
mm, mm, mm. When I was a lawyer, we there are many times my former employer was involved in multiple multi-million lawsuits, multi-million lawsuits. Of course, being an in-house counsel, I know all the legality and everything about it. A lot of times, what determines whether you fight a lawsuit or not is you look at what is going to come if you don't. So a lot of times we spent many months fighting a lawsuit, and we call it defending it vigorously. Bobby, you're on air, Bobby. Sorry.
Be or not,
Okay, slow down. That's okay.
join us.
Maybe you guys take over for a minute, please.
Mm.
Yeah, you
Some
know,
Ling
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 Chi
Chi,
say something.
the question was, is being
Ling
tough
Ling
in
Chi
court
say
a
something.
prerequisite of a successful business? What's your take
Yeah,
on that?
yeah, this you know, being in the court and so on, I know quite many times. So some pretty
Mm,
tough issues, but I would know that I think in Miles Goss specifically, in Miles Goss case, I think he is a well-known political figure. I think the judge
mm,
would know who he is, and given the new federal state of China and the whistleblowers movement and get her, I believe all the judges, they will be very aware of all this, and they would seeking for a balance, which side it is. I mean, for their own survival. You're
mm,
against that, but before the judge will almost, according to my score, always very ignorant of what he has to say, and just made the pre-decisions that he's gonna lose. Okay, in a small steps, step by step. But suddenly, this is the first time Mao Zedong said, we win, and we're going to win the rest of the land. You know, to
Mm.
make such a statement, Mao Zedong must have had a very critical, okay,
Mm.
leverages somewhere. I think the
Yeah.
leverage can mainly come from 2 points. By just look at that case. Number one,
Yeah.
Edward Mouse. Okay, by changing the firm, he has broken the code of conduct by any lawyers. Okay, any business person, conflict of interest. So he has gone into that. Why previously, I think Miles Gore said, was Edward Morse part of Miles Gore's own defense team lawyer? Bindi, have you heard about that? Or Jesse?
No,
I
haven't.
thought that's what he said, that Edward Moss, if Edward Moss was a defense lawyer that has gone to a plaintiff's lawyer, that's even a more fatal, that's even a more fatal mistake. I can't understand how this can be the case. In my legal career, I've never come across such fundamental mistakes. All the law cases that I have come across as an employee has always been very straightforward. There is no hanky panky, absolutely no hanky panky. And we defend vigorously multi-million lawsuits only because if we do not, the financial repercussion that is going to come
Mm.
later is going to be much, much
Mm.
worse. So we will have to nip it at the bud. Whatever it is, we throw everything at the front end. That's that's how it is done. I have never come across a case where the judge actually can decide things the other way around, and or to pick the winning side in such a straightforward thing. I mean, how else can you play it as a judge? So it is actually, I'm quite surprised. So it looks like American legal system is a little bit more tainted than Australian. Then again,
Yeah.
that's only based on my limited experience in commercial lawsuits, and not no, with no political repercussion behind it. I don't know whether it would be different if there are political figures involved. Like for example, right now in Australia, you have all these people who do not want to get vaccinated, suing their, for example, a police constable suing the police commissioner, you know, regarding termination for not vaccinating. I even then I do not think the judge can just rule something against the good principle of law. So to you, Jesse, you have said something about China.
Oh yeah. I think, oh, especially, like China, there's a lot of gray area, isn't it? And to navigate that, the company has a from no in-house legal counsel to legal counsel and the department, and then you got to have external counsels also for different things. It's so laborious, but I think lawsuits has been used for beyond its intended purposes. Actually, that's my view,
Mm,
because you want to drag someone through the mud, whether
yep.
it has merit in it or not. You got to have a lot of money to burn. And in this instance,
Hmm.
like a lot of listeners will be shocked that over 70 over lawsuits has been brought against Mr. Kuo. Actually, 70 over. And
Mm,
one must really begin to go, all right, hang on, 70 over. So the CCP regime is throwing their pots and pans and stove at this guy, right? So it behooves us
mm.
then to go like, he must be doing something right or really hurting them somewhere for them to throw their pots and pans. 70 over, that's ridiculous. That's amazing, actually. So maybe, when all this is done and dusted, he can write a book about my 70 lawsuits. It'll be such an entertaining, read, actually.
Yeah, it is indeed. 007.
Yeah, I think this shows who is Miles Gore. I think most of the people wouldn't be survived. I'm sure Miles Gore
Yeah.
been, if you look at his background, since he is transnational. I mean, he do businesses on the top of the range, top tiers business. Always top business person. The swamp group, the people who control the world, and then the people who control the politically control the countries or the states. And he obviously that has been working for, okay, as a business linkage with information intelligence together to at the initial times to help. I mean, he openly said he helped China expand the relationship with other countries like Abu Dhabi and Middle East countries and sign big deals, even including the this 0.5 trillion oil deal. Remember, his company
mm,
drafted the whole draft. I mean,
mm,
if you look at that, this 30 million, it's a piece of like dust. It's not a very big
mm-hmm,
deal. I can
mm,
see he probably didn't really like Sang Weijin, so he just used the Chinese rule of thumb how to do business. He said, yeah, 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 I guarantee it. Okay, so go and shoot the money to the Spirit Chartered
mm,
Investment, and then you get in China
mm,
the money to Shinny Times. This
mm,
is very common. Just the 皮包公司, okay, so just holding companies there and just transfer funds. But Sang Weijin then come back, huh? You didn't return the money, we're gonna sue you, and blah blah blah. So there could be a lot of deals. Why this still even happened at the beginning of that? Why personal guarantee works since
mm,
2008, and then remember Miles Gore never holding any business account. He never have any asset under his own name. He's protect himself, always family trust. So personal guarantee for
mm,
him, you might, if he didn't like you, mate, if he knows you are an idiot and he's gonna play with you, he's gonna just make you like dumb. So use the
mm,
rule of court system. So you can sue me. So what? I mean, I got no sense to reply you. I mean that let's play
yeah,
the game in the way. I think that could be
mm,
another reason. And to exposure Sang Weijin is prepared by doing that, then let everyone know. Then he start to say, "Who I know who you are." I mean, Miles Gore already know who. I mean, they probably know each other. So something you cannot spill out in the surface. Now we're gonna take it down
yeah,
CCP. So I use that case to drag you down, and then let you make a mistake. That's my opportunity. The money is not an issue. I mean, that little money for a mile score, you can make that probably in one day. Okay, if you want to.
mm, mm.
Back to
You
you.
maybe you want to explain to the both of us, Jesse and myself, who Sang Weijin is.
But Sang Weijie, in during the Cultural Revolution, he was sent to Western China to 劳动改造, to neighboring, as Chairman Mao's policy, to let all the intellectuals. But he was I think a high school kid. Then he was selected, okay, back to study in the foreign language institute alike to create a super spy for sent to the west. So
Mm,
1980, in early 1982 or 86, I forgot, he was sent to USA. And oh no, he went to the university to get his bachelor degree in language or business. Then he went to one of the famous US institute and studied his master and PhD. So he got a doctorate degree, and then he created the China uh, European Students Association in Beijing. It's a huge big club. I mean, they got everything there. Okay, so it is a point where all the top internet under the international students, all the top spies all meet together. They send to foreign countries to study, exchange information. In return, they also bring the target. It could be a famous business person or political figure, and bring to the club to be DGY'd. And then they develop the network, very powerful with investment and so on. So they both the nation, the whole foreign ministry is side. So Sang Weijing, his level in the country, it's he's in the same level of the same political level of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of China. So he has that level. He doesn't report to any other department, he will report directly to the chairman of the intelligence and the Xi Jinping. Okay, he doesn't have to reply to anyone. That's Sang Weijian. Okay, so now you know why Miles Go get him into that businesses. Okay, I mean, of course, he would also know who Miles Go is. You remember Xi Jinping and Miles Go had numerous meetings in business because Miles is so okay. Is that like 007? Okay, one single man can go fly to a country, make everyone a friend, and then do the deal for China. Okay, and he even write down the business plan and the contract. He just super genius. That's why I like him so much. My name is 007. That's why I like, because he is really the most. I never seen anyone. I like to watch 007 movie, but he is the real in life 007. Okay, one single person, private agent, go there, all the parties, everyone will fall in love with him and do deal. So Sang Weijian must know him, okay, all the information who is. So to get 30 million out of it, okay, no problem. I personally guarantee. I mean, he could not say no to him even to Miles Gore. So he got to say yes somehow. Miles Go probably use that as a bait. Just delivery. I don't know. If he want to play big chess, he would deliberately. Okay, I don't pay you. Okay, let me sue me. Let you sue me. See what happens, and then it explode. As a whistleblower movement, it just explode the whole foreign spy system. And Sang Weijian is the biggest agent for China in USA and Europe. There's no who is less than him. He channels so much big fund on behalf of the nation. You got the picture now. And the judge, I don't know, maybe the judge get told somewhere somehow, you better be careful, otherwise you could lose your license as a judge if you continue to be BGY and listen to what CCP have to tell you. So this case is very political. One day when he Miles go let that out, I mean it's a big film we can make if you got the money to start the film.
Yeah, it must be very political because the fact on itself is like, this is
Mm.
very basic, very fundamental. Why is it that, how could the lawyer do all this? Why is this, it, to me, it's just a big question. And I still think that those lawyers must be pretty lousy lawyers, um, to make such a fundamental mistakes. Anything else that Jesse wants to add before we go on to COVID update?
Yeah, I think well, if I can just quickly, why they're targeting Mr. Mouseclaw with all these lawsuits, creating a multiple battlefronts, and and like what Ling Lingqi is very very insightful what you have said, Ling Lingqi, and we know why you don't win a battle, but you lose the war. I think he has got this wisdom in him, to choose to engage with which battle and to draw out the adversaries that's in the dark, that's hidden, draw them out. I think that point is so fantastic. And if I can just add on also, no one flocks a dead horse. If he's a dead horse like our G series or whatever, is the dead horse, is a shamba, it's a house of cards. They won't be throwing the pots and pans at what he has created, isn't it? Yeah. It must be something that they have seen and they're really afraid to launch 70 battlefronts. Like, wow, this is crazy, and it's so exciting. Like I totally agree. 007. He's a one man
This
zero
is
zero
called
seven. Yes.
this is called the legal unrestricted warfare. So unrestricted
Mm,
warfare in law in the
Mm,
West, trying to exhaust Miles Gore's energy and his fund. But of course,
mm.
yeah,
Miles Gore have unlimited energy to create the funds as well, so create the money. So he's unbeatable.
yeah.
He has
That's
all of
why
us
he has
behind him.
emphasized before, said that if he is like that, who can withstand CCP's persecution in this way?
Yeah.
You know, one case, like I told you, in my life is like one dispute with one my own employer already. I was told by my ex-boss to settle it. Not worth your emotional stress. One case. Yeah, that's it. So okay, if we can go on to COVID update. Where COVID update. Next slide. Next slide.
嗯，
Next.
下一个，好
Yeah. Next.
，next，下一个，
Next. Yeah. Okay. Three, I wish to just pick three events. Obviously, there are a lot of things to talk about as far as COVID is concerned. One of the biggest is actually Supreme Court, US Supreme Court. We are not talking about, well, Western Australia Supreme Court or Australian Supreme Court. We have to understand that in Australia, the Supreme Court is not as high a court as the US. The highest court in Australia is called the High Court, whereas in the US, the highest court is called the Supreme Court. Decision is against Biden's mandates. Biden has many mandates, one of which is COVID mandate. COVID mandate in many ways. So the only thing that the Supreme Court is still retaining is the mandate on the health workers. All the other mandates have been dismantled by the Supreme Court. And we are going to discuss a little bit about the significance of that in a little bit. The next one I'm just quickly run through is about UK doing away with vaccine passport, a big deal as well. I think it's a very big deal. And very last one, I'm just quickly run through before we discuss all these points again. Western Australia is introducing medical apartheid against unvaxxed starting. It's not end of December, man. It's end of 31st January 2022. Okay, end of this month, 31st January 2022. Okay, back to 007, who has something to say.
Yeah. So my question is, when the Supreme Court decision against Biden's mandate on the vaccination, but exclude the health workers, the definition of a health worker, does that include doctors and nurses and alike together?
Yep,
You know, this is
yep.
very interesting. My question is, why you make such a discrimination? Maybe this is a 6-3. I saw the decision 6-3. The Supreme Court judges, six judges voted against Biden's mandate, but allow the jabs, the vaccination, the poison vax to be continue vaccine the health professionals. I hope that including Fauci and all the other guys as well. So those guys, so could be a punishment, capital punishment. What do you think?
Fauci already had his jab on one arm, but pain on the other arm. So he's got a very poisonous jab.
Okay, so I just wonder, afterwards, I mean, there'll be no no doctors and nurses left in about 5 to 10 years. It's dangerous.
I'm so concerned about I'm I'm so concerned about medical professionals being jabbed that I bring forward all our medical treatment and everything else. Like I was telling my husband, "Oh, go and get all all your teeth done." I was all of us like that, just in case the dentist or the dental technician, all of them, they fall apart. Jesse.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, I think it's really evil, But for them to do that, there must be a underlying plan already. If you get the health worker, and there's a huge critical shortage of health worker, it could, public sentiment could rise again. They could point a finger at the unvax again, because right now, when the report comes out, they say, oh, hospitalization. They do not specify they are hospitalized for what. They only say, oh, the COVID cases and they're hospitalized. That's not specific enough, right? So if you can delve deeper, I think it would be very interesting for us to know. All right, so maybe there's some report that says in Australia, for example, 50% of people who was hospitalized during the COVID period, right, are for bumps on their head, they fell down, they broke their legs and whatever, and the other 50% could be very well the adverse effects from reactions from the jabs, but they lump it together as, oh yep, hospitalization.
There's no
Precisely,
one
there are
person who
already
has flu. Oh, go
precisely
ahead,
that
Cindy.
there are already statistics that have come out that out of the hospitalization, 51% are there not because of COVID, and the 48 something percent who are there are there and they are jabbed. So only a very few minority unjabbed people are in the hospital due to COVID, and maybe even none. So they jumble all these statistics up to confuse people, to create the urgency to get jabbed and everything else. But in fact, uh, one of the news that is not on the slides, but it's worth mentioning, is that um, there is such an acute shortage of health workers that are calling back nurses, in particular nurses. Two instances: either nurses who are unjabbed. In other instances, they fire the nurses who are unjabbed, but call back jabbed nurses who have COVID.
Hmm.
Both instances have happened in various different hospitals in both Australia as well as in America. So whatever suits them. So if they want to force people to jab, they fire the unjabbed nurses. But because they are short of nurses, they start calling back jabbed nurses who have COVID. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, I've got a question
So the
actually.
hospital become a breeding ground of
Yeah.
Omicron or Homicron or Mamicron. Okay, all kind of variants. Mamicron, Omicron,
Now,
Homicron,
UK
Humicron.
is saying that, okay, we can do away with vaccine passport because Omicron is not as while it's contagious, it's the symptom is very light. We can do away with vaccine passport. Okay, coming soon. Well, on the other hand, WA, since yesterday 6 o'clock our local time, 6 p.m., they started introducing mask mandate because there are in 2 consecutive days 3 cases and 3 cases of COVID. So there you go. So you have two polar and they are of course introducing medical apartheid for the unjabbed. We are quite a lot of places we can't go, but we are still allowed into malls. Maybe the next thing is they will go the Singapore way and stop us from going to malls. By saying that, oh, okay, because you cannot go into shopping centers and everything else, you practically cut out, say, I would say 80% of the food outlet of the supermarkets outlets. So indoor, we have to wear a mask. Like today, I went to the dentist. I have to wear a mask. Stupid thing like that. So I think there is definitely some changes coming along. But Australia, as with everything else, we are a little bit slow in catching up. Maybe Western Australia is because we are even slower. So um, they are only right now going to introduce medical apartheid. And interestingly, today at the nurse, I had my dentist who did the cleaning for me. I said, "What? The dentist doing the job of a hygienist?" Because that doesn't happen usually in my dentist clinic, dental clinic. And because they have hygienists do the cleaning, the dentist will only come and do the regular routine checkup. And the dentist said, yes, because we are so short. We are so short of people from the front desk to dentist to hygienist. I say, I just can't believe it. She said, it's because the border is closed. There's nobody coming in. And the people who have been around in Western Australia are so worked out. They are so exhausted after, say, 18 months of border closing, and they have been working um, uh, for a very long time, covering too many different clinics. So they are all exhausted. So
Mm.
Western Australia is starting to see empty shelves and short of staff from at all at level. all level. And I've mentioned before my husband's industry, even though it's mandated to jab, and even my husband said is was 30th November his last day, and he was asked to stay even though he's not jabbed. So interesting, Jesse, to you.
Yeah. We can slice this a few ways, but one of the points which I would like to, have some thoughts from you guys is, um, could this be an act of desperation of them starting the apartheid, and even the news that the federal government says, oh, we have bought, 100 million shots of boosters already. So playing
Mm-hmm.
out tricks on our mind that, hey, you know what, guys,
Yep,
you're gonna get it one way or another, and then
yep,
letting news like news from Singapore like, oh yeah, no jab, you can't essentially your life is scoped actually,
yep,
right?
yep,
It could be
yep.
a desperation, a sign of desperation that they want to force those who had not had the boosters to get the boosters, or those who are still deterring and go like, all right, I'll get a jab, because I haven't got mine, so maybe I should get it actually, just to make it, yeah, I want to live a normal life. Yeah, so maybe
That's
the
right.
narrative is
I'm
falling
sure.
apart.
Yes, yes. I'm sure there will be people who will fold with this, because already I have church members saying that, oh, because we are not jab, we can't do this, we can't do that, we can't go to uni, blah blah blah. If I don't jab, I can't go to classes anymore, and these classes are not taped. Who cares about uni? But there are people who care. There are people who cannot see beyond their nose.
Yeah, yeah.
And
And
okay,
can I put
another
forward
news that I like to share. Yep, Jesse.
can I put forward another um, arena that has which is something that they cannot keep from people's knowledge, is based on anecdotal evidences. The people who have suffered adverse effects is getting closer and closer to us. It used to be like,
Mm,
5% away. Oh, I heard my
yep.
friends. Now is our
Mm-hmm.
circle of friends.
Yep.
And once it's circle of friends, a person's, a normal person's sphere of influence is 50 fellas actually. And they know they cannot contain this outbreak of adverse effects, adverse reactions, and people are talking, and they go like, all right, let's go out, let's go the hardest, and scare them some more, and then hopefully, people will go, all right, let's do it. That's my view.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely. Um, and double seven, you have something to say?
I think this is a when we've been hypnosis, social hypnosis through media and the
Mm,
misinformation, we always believed that in the background, the bottom layer of the information or belief being said to our mind is that vaccine works. So we had the
mm,
first jabs, but then we had the second jab. Also, we believed the firmly vaccination works. But then when the Omicron come, that's only about 3 weeks. That people who had the third jabs, booster jabs, whatever. I mean, suddenly you see all the test results in the last 2 weeks has rapidly confirmed correlation between, okay, the more you jabbed, the more is those people who carry on all the omicrons. Okay, so this factor just shocked your brain. Most people, okay, for those who jabbed, they probably inside they're boring a 100 million degree hot water temperature on the heart or in the guts. But those 10% people like us are unjabbed, you know what? And unless you are financially independent, then you probably very fearful if you have a mortgage of car or house to pay. What happens is you gotta go get jabbed, okay? Or you have a partner or been nagging on you, you gotta get jabbed, even you haven't been. Unless you are in new federal state of China, your life is more important. These jabs will shorten your life. It doesn't matter. You can pay. Who cares? I mean, you can go bankrupt. I'm sure in this country, if you can't be dead, okay, of hunger. So this is a thing. unless your mind is determined, unless you've been given positive affirmation, this will shorten your life. The truth is, it will end your life. You will every day. You know, the circle of unjabbed people will become smaller, smaller, smaller. So I
Mm,
agree with the Jess. This is a desperation from the government. They're trying to play psychological tricks, warfare on you, and make sure you are the last sheep who go into the cave. Okay,
mm,
then you'll be one of them. And then when everyone's jabbed, you know what they're gonna say. They say what they want to say. You can show us. Well, we'll give you a third jab, a fourth, fifth. I mean, until you die, you probably die. Wouldn't need 5 years. You know, if you have another six jabs, I think by another fourth or fifth jab, you'll be critically dead. And or the
yeah.
fear of death by seeing so many people who had more jabs, one more jabs than you already just drop out dead. So the picture of
Mm,
body bag shortage, the picture of bodies everywhere on the road, this will happen. Okay,
mm. I want to read
not very
something
good.
which was forwarded to me by a friend whom I know from the Middle East. He shared this with me. We talked about COVID vax and all this sort of thing. Of course, he's jabbed. So he said that the lawsuit for global crimes against humanity has been filed and accepted by the Supreme Court of Justice of Canada. And a team of more than 1,000 lawyers and more than 10,000 medical experts, led by German lawyer Rainer Fulmich, one of the most powerful lawyers in Europe, has been launched. And it is historically called the Nuremberg Two Trials against WHO and the Davos group. So there will be the World Economic Forum led by the 80-plus-year-old Klaus Schwab for crime against humanity. So what the lawyer Fulmich said is that they have collected thousands of scientific evidence proving that the total unreliability of PCR tests and the fraud behind them. And they also said they have nothing to do with vaccines, but are part of genetic experiments. So of course, this is talking about the vaccine. So and then he also said that this has been planned for some time to be implemented in 2050. But then the strings, the people who pull the strings got greedy. So they have then they brought it forward. They decided to anticipate the plans first in 2030, and finally decided they brought forward by 30 years, 2020. So they make so many mistakes. So they said because they brought forward the plan, they made so many mistakes. The vaccine manufacturers didn't anticipate that there would be so many side effects and deaths. So Europe was supposed to be the main battleground of this war. It's because it's completely bankrupt. It's because Europe is bankrupt. That's why they wanted to loot the pension funds. So the most important is interesting thing is that what it says is that they bribe doctors, hospital staff, and politicians. People who don't cooperate are threatened. They use all kinds of psychological techniques to manipulate people. Nothing new here. But what is interesting is this: it says a mask doesn't protect against anything because almost everyone is now informed by the alternative media. I think this is only one point that Malsco doesn't agree that the mask doesn't work. Malsco said the mask works, but everybody else says the mask doesn't work. So, but anyway, we are not here to we are not here to go against what Malsco has said. And interestingly, this is full mixed advice. He said, spread the truth and the facts as much as possible and don't waste your energy on people who are desperately vaccinated. We can't save everyone. Many people
Yep.
will die. So that's the conclusion. But if you are on this channel and watching us, you know artemisinin, as promoted by the whistleblower movement, Mousko, works, right?
Yeah.
So, but then you
Mm.
have to be careful with artemisinin. It cannot be used long term. So, 007, how long can you use artemisinin before you have to take a break?
I personally used it for I just one pill a day. I did it for 3 months. I think that it's a miracle. Now I think I feel I need a rest because
Mm-hmm.
maybe the body is so clean, all the arteries, veins, all the stresses, all the blood status is gone. So I do notice. I mean, I whether I sleep at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. or 1 a.m. Okay, I can still get up 7:30, 8 o'clock and do use in the whole day, not tired. So this is
Mm-hmm.
something I strongly recommend. So I think if you can do for 2 months, that's enough. Okay,
Okay,
and
two
then
months.
and then
Okay,
make
Jesse, are you
two
on
months,
100%
to 2 months every
Yeah,
day for a month. Yeah.
so
Okay.
007, will we be expecting a junior 007 soon? One of the side effect of artemisinin.
I think the things I already have the third generation, so just had a meeting with them. And they so
Yeah,
okay
see,
to do
because I
that.
do understand, like the Chinese medicine, a little bit, where we say the meridian point, where the
Yeah,
flow of energy and really is from the flow of the blood, isn't it? From blockages of
correct. Yeah,
the blockage, therefore some ailments increases, or the propensity for it to
yeah.
manifest itself. And and I was telling one of my friend all about artemisinin, and interestingly now he's vexed, but they listen and da da da. And I say, oh, you got to be careful of one of the side effect actually. And he looks at me, go like, what is it? I said, you know what, like what Moscow says, your wife will be very busy actually, happy but
Mm,
busy,
mm,
so you don't have to take the blue pill anymore. And straight away he goes,
mm.
are you sure? Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah.
take it now. So why not? So now I go tell my friends, the male friends. I say, oh yeah, this one of the side effect is you will feel like you are wow again.
For that, I can confirm with you. Very, very good. So you get up 7 o'clock. You just like 18 years old, for sure. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
interesting.
That's why.
Okay,
That's
let's
why I
have a
think
look.
that's why I wanted to
Yes.
stop taking for a little while. So bought a few other alternatives to still just
Mm.
to be as a prevention. So I just stopped and then to see how the long lasting results will be ongoing without taking it. So yeah,
Yeah, the
I'm
reason why I said that they need to take for a period and break is because it will deplete iron in the body. So you need to let
mm,
your body recover the iron level recover. That's also the reason why the recommendation is that you need to stop after a little while. So the next item which is been recommended is Nigella savita. If we can have the next slide, please, Flower. Yeah, so this is very common health. You can find it in the health food shop. Apparently, they are very cheap, but they are an alternative. If you cannot get hold of ivermectin, you should get hold of this black cumin seed. Okay, black
mm,
cumin seed, very important. 40 milligram per kilogram of body weight. 40 milligram per kilogram of body weight, equivalent to ivermectin. I say that again. Black cumin seed is equivalent to ivermectin. If you cannot get hold of ivermectin, get hold of black cumin seeds. So
mm,
I only have the one final slide to share, which is capturing some of the very most important supplements that you need to keep at home, or sometimes some of them are pharmaceutical drugs, which may be a little bit hard to get hold of if you do not have prescription, or ivermectin you can't even find at all and you can't buy online. Maybe through some channels you can get hold of. Very last slide, Flower. Last slide. Next slide. Yes. So zinc. Before that, zinc, vitamin C, vitamin D, hydroxychloroquine, if you can get hold of, quercetin. So these are all some of the very important ones. So our time is up. We just want to see we just want to say good night and
Okay.
take care of yourself. Omicron is dangerous. Don't take it lightly. Very infectious, but we have prophylaxis to take care of you. Good night, everybody.
Good night. God bless you. Stay healthy.
God
Stay
bless you.
healthy. And be happy with the optimism. Okay. Good night. Confirmed.
Confirm. I like that.